into the millions is where you get to the full-on professional level. So I'm still very much looking up at the professionals right now, but with where I've come, what I can see now is what's going on behind the scenes. You know, it's a bit like when you're watching ice skating at the Olympics, you know. I just see people jumping and twiddling around, but the people who really know it, they can tell the difference between a 4-star and a 5-star triple axel or whatever. So I thought I'd introduce you to those ideas too, because hopefully it'll give you a new appreciation for the videos that you're watching, and you'll be able to kind of spot for yourselves what's going on there and really understand if YouTube has presented you a video, these people are doing something right. So let's take a look. Let's start by talking about me. It's my favorite subject. This is my channel. It's called Three Twentysix. I'm going to leave the sound off just to give you a bit of a taste. I should mention that the great news about tonight is that it's a brand new format for me. So it'll be very exciting. And the bad news is that it's a brand new format for me. So I fully expect everything to go wrong. Let's just see if we can get this going from up here. There we go. So this is an example of one of my channels. We can see we've got graphics, we're talking to the camera and things like this. The history of this is that in 2020 I made a somewhat ill-advised grant proposal to make a YouTube channel based on chemistry education. And much to my annoyance, it got accepted. By that time, I was really hoping to do something with theoretical chemistry. I'd got some great preliminary results, and this was the last thing I wanted. But here we go. It took about 2 years to be able to make a video like this. And this video right now has somewhere about 170,000 views. These days, I expect my views to be in the hundreds of thousands now. So I'd be disappointed with anything less than that. But it's absolutely not the kind of thing that happens overnight, unless you are literally unlucky. Okay? Because if you get a viral video early on, it's not because you understand what you're doing. Rather, it's because you were lucky with this one video, and you will probably waste years of your time trying to replicate that. Whereas the slow build-up, you learn the craft and you finally get there. So to show you what I mean by that, this is me 10 years ago. And at that time, I thought it would be a great idea for my students if they could watch my lectures online. Many of them are coming from abroad, and I thought it would help them if they could watch my videos on YouTube. And you can see where we're starting from. This is where most people start from, I think. You get a camera, you stand in front of the camera, and you speak. And frankly, it doesn't work that way. I don't have a microphone, I don't have lights, I haven't got a way of balancing up the lighting of the screen with the lighting of me. Let's just turn up the sound and see what that is. 40 degrees centigrade. And you can hear it echoing around, right? You can hear the sound bouncing off the room. And looking at the sound is something that most of us don't realize. We don't realize, hey, this video's got great sound. I can hear them talking really clearly, even though they're outside. So there are so many things going on behind the scenes. Lighting for a start, microphones for second point, cameras, of course, is something that we're going to think about pretty early on. But just to get a video like this next one, well, we won't talk about the next one yet. Let's quickly go back to the first one. Just to get a video like this one, and you can hear the difference in the sound here. Come on. Come on. I've still got mine. All right, it's playing up. Might be. Oh, there we go.
wrong. For example, the bonding in oxygen gas.
Now it sounds like I'm talking to you directly, right? It sounds like we're talking over a table directly. And it took me 2 microphones to get there. You can't just buy an expensive microphone, because even the shotgun microphone, the kind of long pointy ones, versus a USB microphone that sits on your desk, very different sound quality. And as you get more and more into it, you get very much more interested in the quality of that sound, and it makes a real difference. These are all the things that your viewers will not notice, but they will hear the difference subconsciously. This looks and sounds like a professional video now.
That's why we have our speakers wear pin mics.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, you know, this... Whoa. All right. Now, but what I want to do today is talk about the ingredients that all successful videos have. I've put up a bunch of example videos here from my favorite videos. I could literally put them in any order because all of them have all of these ingredients. And the absolute first ingredient we need is the passion. Every creator must have a passion for their topic. And the reason for that is YouTube videos take a long time to create, a lot of effort, and in many cases, a lot of money. So if you don't have that passion to start with, you're not going to go anywhere. Either you won't get the audience, or they'll just give up pretty quickly, or you as a creator will give up pretty quickly. So every creator, pretty much everyone that you'll see down that sidebar on the right, certainly anybody above that 100,000 subscriber level, will have a passion for what they are talking about. This is one of my absolute favorite channels in the world. This is a woman called Nare Soul, but this is one of her older videos. I'm not going to show you the sound for these videos anymore, but I got hooked on her videos about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was her passion for music and talking about music and explaining music that really hooked me in to her channel. And I'm not a musician, all right? I've got a guitar, but I barely play it. I used to know very little about music, but she loves it, and she's not just passionate about her music, she is amazing at expressing that. So all of these things, like here she's explaining about the rhythms of music, and in this case I think it was maybe samba, and she's talking about it, and it looks so simple, but it's the way she talks about it really pulls you in. She is also a master educator, absolutely amazing. As I say, I am not a musician, but I understand what she's talking about. Fantastic stuff. So passion is the first ingredient everyone must have. Then the other one that people must have is some kind of talent. Now, that talent might not be obvious. This is a channel called Laserpig. He talks about basically war history. And looking at this, it looks like an absolute mess, right? I mean, just looking at it, right? It looks like he's done everything wrong, but he's got, I don't know, well over 1 million subscribers. And from my point of view, I got on board at the tens of thousands stage, I think maybe 20,000. He's well over 1 million now. I mean, he started about the same level as me back in the summer this year, and he's well over 1 million, 1.5 million. So what is his talent? Well, his talent is, number one, history. He finds an interesting topic. but he talks about it in the most amazing way. Let's just listen in on the audio for a minute.
For some evidence of this via the bodies of the commandos who were bravely beaten back. Few suspicious things in this video that could show it's not being too genuine is the lack of blood in any of the bodies, the lack of shell casings or damage to the terrain around them, etc. The most damning of all was at the end of the video, the man filming states, "Right, video's over," and all the corpses stand up laughing. Yeah, we weren't.
And he's so funny, and you really have the feeling that you're talking with him over a pint at a pub somewhere. But it's not just the talking, it's not just the delivery. I mean, he's got a script for this, we've got the preparation, but the editing, I promise you, is amazing. It is not as random and as messy as it looks. He has collated this sequence of images. He's put them together in a certain way that this minute, this is serious, look at this is serious, look at this, but then boom, 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 dancing anime girls. And it keeps you locked in. The videos are long as well. His videos can be about an hour long. That's an absolute no-no on YouTube. Absolute no-no. But you sit there and you're like, well, I'll just watch this next bit, and the next thing you know, you've been there for an hour. And he's got that talent. His talent, preparation, the script, the talking, the way he does it, but most especially what he does is the editing, making it into a truly thrilling and exciting video. So that is his particular talent. But all of them have some kind of talent for something that they are doing. These talents, as I said before, are not always obvious. This is one of my favorite physics channels that I can barely watch because I'm so jealous of this guy. Look at him. I mean, look at him. He's so young and good looking, and he's got like, I don't know, he might be up to about 2 million videos by now. And this is, look how simple it looks, right? He sits there talking to a camera, and then he's got a bunch of maths on the left side. We can all do that, right? He is an amazing educator. Absolutely top world-class educator. We can listen to him for a minute.
Space and time in order for a wave to exist in that region of space and time. In particular, the value of the electric field fluctuates regularly between some specific value E subscript naught, and then 0, and then negative E subscript naught, and then 0 again.
He sounds like he's talking directly to you, and I'm sure that's how he feels. And as a master educator, what he is doing is he's getting himself into the minds of his audience, and he's thinking, how can I navigate a path to where they need to be? They need to understand this point, this point, this point, and this point. How can I take them from there to here? Oh, they have to understand this thing first. And then he takes out anything that's unnecessary. And he keeps it all the way through, just like a beautiful conversation between the two of us. It's an absolute talent that I think you have to be an educator yourself to be able to spot how good he is. And possibly a YouTube creator as well, to realize how difficult it is to put all of that together. An absolute master. He's in the millions of subscribers, and that is no accident. I mean, it's slightly an accident. He started his channel right when COVID went off, and it very much looks to me like he started off by putting his university lectures onto YouTube for his students. So it's kind of an accident in that way, but it's not an accident in the way that he's just a master and he found his audience. So if I'd been a bit more organized, I would have had barcodes here so you could have all linked up to the channel. But I'm sure we'll get it on the Nerd Nite website perhaps. Now the next thing that people don't understand is how much time has to go into the video before you even press record on the camera. So this again is one of my favorite videos. This guy explained imaginary numbers to me. Now, as a scientist, I could do imaginary numbers before. Just quick show of hands, who knows what an imaginary number is, even if you can't do it? Okay, so a few hands going up there. Okay, don't worry. Okay, all right, but it's just a thing in maths, and you know, I could solve the problems and pass an exam, but I never really got them. This guy just made it so clear to me, and I could understand it from a whole different value. But look at what he's doing. He's just drawing pictures on a piece of paper. So how long is that going to take you before you press the record button? Well, the answer is, number one, he's got to write a script. And I don't know how long this took him to write, but almost certainly a long time. So by analogy, my most recent video, the one that went up this week, that took me somewhere about 3 to 4 weeks just to write the script for a 27-minute video on a topic that I already really understand very well. And I'm sure it was some maybe similar amount of time for him. And then we look at this and, you know, all right, he's got a camera and he's videoing himself writing bits down on a piece of paper. But he actually made a video on how he does it. And, I mean, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing, right? But in fact, what he's got is he's got a whole light box. He's got a professional camera on a little dolly that moves across the top of his table, and this light box that brings in the light from all angles so that he can make these pictures look amazing. So the preparation for something like this can take weeks, depending on what you're doing. And as simple as that looks, it would have taken him a long time to set all of that up and record it. That goes for all of these videos. Now, the next thing is, once you've pressed the record button, how long is that going to take, right? You're doing a 27-minute video. Perhaps Negar here. Oh, by the way, Negar here is helping us out with our Iranian channel. I've got your name right, haven't I, Negar? Yeah, all right, thank you. You just looked a little surprised there for a minute. I thought...
The language is not Iranian, the language is Persian.
Thank you very much. No, I really appreciate that. She's helping us out with our Persian video, and we are finding out how long it takes to actually record a video once you're in front of the camera. And that's pretty much for anyone. But let's look at something like this. I love this channel. All this guy does is stand on a motorway somewhere in the UK and talk about it, right? I mean, it really doesn't get much easier than that, right? But as always, we've got the preparation. He's had to read up all kinds of history and things to be able to talk about a motorway. But with this, he's had to drive there for a start, which could have taken him, you know, hours of driving. Once he's there, he's got to find a good place to set up the camera, not too much background noise, not too many people walking past, or preferably no people walking past. He takes drone footage. All of this video, which is no more than 10 minutes, some of them about 6 or 7 minutes, will have taken him at least a day to put this together. I have one myself, I'll show you at the end, that was quite similar to this. So the actual recording time just takes an immensely long time if you are doing a good job. And that even goes for the kooky stunt videos, the ones where people are just doing some skateboarding tricks. Well, they got all of those tricks wrong 20 times before they got it right that one time. So when you see videos getting into that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands brackets, those videos are taking way, way longer just to record than it appears. The next thing is the editing. The editing is how we take the footage that we've recorded and put that together into an informative and entertaining video. Okay, so this guy just walks around and takes photographs. That's all he does. So really easy, right? And he talks to you as he does it. But he's spent a whole morning, maybe a whole day walking around taking photographs. He's walked up somewhere, put his camera down, walked back, walked up, walked past the camera so he can have a shot of him, you're kind of walking up the mountain. And he's talking into the camera the whole time about what he's thinking, what's going through his head. But that, frankly, is a bunch of rubbish. It's not until you edit it that you get an amazing 10, 15-minute video. He's editing exactly where he puts a shot, what speech goes into the video, what doesn't, is fantastic. If you're into photography, this is a fantastic video. Graphics too, very much so for my video. This guy is one of the inspirations for me. Doing this kind of thing where he's kind of having a little debate with himself, but also graphics like this is not easy. You have to learn a whole bunch of software to be able to do apparently simple things like this. And that takes a lot of time. Pretty much everybody, if they will have some kind of graphics in there, they'll have photographs, they've got to sort through stock footage, choose what's good, what fits and what doesn't. And then when you put all of that together, the successful channel will end up developing its own style. So this is me back in the early days, and mentioned before, you've got to find the right place. This was very much the wrong place. This was Umino Nakamichi Park on a Thursday morning, a weekday Thursday morning. I thought there won't be anybody there. Turns out that's the day they do all the maintenance. They had all the trucks out, all the saws going. Also, every bird objected to me walking past it at the time. It was an absolute nightmare. But I've got this walkie-talkie style, and I got that from a few other channels that I liked, and I decided to do it too. Turns out that's not my style, all right? And as we saw before, my style now is very much the kind of city talking to the camera style, and that's what works for me. Oops, let me skip one. But once we've got our videos, we've still got to upload them. And even that is a skill. Thumbnails down here. The thumbnails that you click on are no accident. The first thing it's got to do is grab your attention and pull you in. It's got to make you look at it. Then come the titles. What is it about these titles that pull you in? This one, Atomic Orbitals 3D, I've got to admit, I'm not a fan of that. The best ones are, frankly, the clickbaity ones. You won't believe this thing about atomic orbitals. And you go, what? And it makes you click. And as much as we hate clickbait, if you don't do it, you don't get clicked. So even the ones that don't look clickbaity as such, still stand out. There's definitely an art to that. But the thumbnails are so important that I actually have a student doing those for me. She is an amazing, talented person, and I essentially have to call her up and beg her to do it, because I did try them myself and they were an absolute mess. You really need an idea, and you need the talent for doing something like thumbnails. So these thumbnails, it's never an accident when you click on a thumbnail. It's always something about that design has pulled you in. Oops. Then we have to deal with the algorithm. So monetization is the carrot, okay? For me, I'm an educator. I would do these videos even if I wasn't getting money from well, I'm not getting any money from the channel. But for me, the monetization is not the point of it. As I say, I'm an educator. But YouTube understands that it needs to pay people to get them to spend more time on making these videos. But that means we're working for YouTube. And we know what tech companies are like. They're fast to bring out the old whip, hit you over the back with it, and the algorithm is that whip. What the algorithm does is if you are not publishing, it shows your videos to fewer and fewer and fewer people. And your channel views decline and decline and decline. And that means that you are not at liberty to produce videos when you've got time for it. Depending on your topic, depending on what space you're in and how much competition there is, you'll be looking at producing videos from between every day to every week. I just about get away with a video every 2 weeks, but you can see the dip we had here before I uploaded this short. And that's the penalty. That's the penalty if you're not consistently uploading. And I've seen it again and again and again that creators are suffering burnout because they can't keep up with it, especially people in the educational space. So with that, it just remains to me to say thank you for watching, and please keep watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy. Very good talk. Floor is open for some questions.
Yeah. So, speaking on this topic, I'm sure you know Mr. Beast.
Yes.
Okay, so he's like maybe one of the biggest guys on YouTube, most watched, biggest number of subscribers. Talking about the, what happens with the algorithm, where if you're not producing videos, then YouTube doesn't show it as much.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, sometimes I see Mr. Beast videos and it's like, what is this guy like making? Like, what is it like? Do you think that that algorithm is pushing him to just like put out content no matter what it is?
Well,
like in a sense, like
basically flipped. He's using the algorithm. He is focused on the algorithm, and so to say it's pushing him is true in a sense, but at the same time he understands the algorithm. I say he. I mean, he's wealthy enough to pay a team, right? So he's got a team looking at the algorithm, planning exactly how many videos of what type to put out and when, and he's absolutely mastering that. But that's kind of, as I say, the difference between the semi-professional and the professional level is the ability to pay for a team to take on that extra work to start making the algorithm work for you instead of the other way around. Okay. Yeah.
Brief question. Are those algos disclosed to content creators?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But there are many channels that make their money from analyzing the algorithm, looking at see what videos are at the top of the recommendation lists, and they will tell you YouTube algorithm for 2023, and so everybody flocks to those videos, and you've got a good idea of what's going on.
So this is a common, just so by experiment, like we know that YouTube favors those kind of like stupid titles. Here are what happened to his brains with a stupid like face photo on the thumbnails. Yeah. So like, I can't understand why.
Well, yeah, but what I will tell you about that, and this is something that took me years to learn, is that the algorithm is the algorithm for a reason, and it's because people will click on this is what you won't believe what happened to this guy's brain. They will not click on something that says cranial encephalitis is a problem. People won't click on that. So my early videos were entitled things like the difference between valence bond theory and blah 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 or whatever, and they just weren't popular. So now my videos is how atoms really make molecules. People click on that title because it's instantly communicating, whoa, what's different? But the crucial thing is that I can back that up. I mean, this is my USP for my channel is that I explain things that are in the textbooks, but better. And so that is something that I can back up. Yeah.
Related question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do YouTube ever contact you and say you should do these things to have more success?
Yes.
Okay.
So there is there's like a page they call YouTube Studio, and you know, if you can visit it. It's not in any way secret or anything like that. And they tell you what is, for example, what the latest trends are. So for me, that's not particularly relevant because I'm not chasing that kind of audience. But absolutely, they will tell you what's big now.
For example, the all caps. There was a time that didn't happen, and then suddenly everyone started putting every third word in all caps. Like,
Yeah.
If that was an official guideline. Or,
I'm not sure that I don't think something like that would be an official guideline, but I think you'll find that there definitely are fashions. So people will be looking to see, if you start getting a bunch of videos in your thumbnails that are all in caps, you start going, oh, hang on. There's a reason these videos are being shown to people and my not caps videos are not being shown. So then it becomes, I would call that more of a fashion, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Last question.
How many of your your special ingredients you think are applicable across the board? Because to me, like saying like preparation and research of a topic, for some very successful channels would be harmful. For example, like there's a lot of drama channels or podcasts where actually being ignorant of stuff actually helps those channels.
Or do you think
they're being deceitful?
I'm pretty sure there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you think. So, sure, like, if the point of it is, say, start from a place of ignorance and then what do we find out as we go along, that's good to have that ignorance that you're talking about. But before you get to that sitting down and recording position, there would have been a big meeting about why are we choosing this topic, where do we think it's going to go, is it likely to last for 6 episodes and that kind of thing. And sometimes it's just straight up, you can tell by the way they talk, that this person who's going, well, hey, how would that work? I don't get it. No, they already know. This is all scripted. All of this ignorance is scripted ignorance. So I'm not saying that's always true, but definitely there would have been big meetings before about
Even like currently there's like React channels, or like people just taking like VODs from Twitch, or some streamer reacting to somebody else's content, and then that gets lots of views. But then I guess the argument is that they're reacting to some other content that's been gone through all of your points, right? So I guess that's a moot point.
I mean, you know, there's always going to be some exceptions, but I think they're rare.
All right, so close out this talk. Another round of applause for everyone.